Hey everybody, Steven here, and today looking at a new webcam. This is the Focus 100 from WyreStorm. So this is just about to launch here, so I will make sure that a link for this is in the description. It is $59.99, which is a good solid price for a webcam. And we're going to talk about the specs here in a second. I'm going to do the whole video using the microphone that this actually has built into it. Right now you can hear the audio is kind of grainy. It's also summer where I'm at, so in the background you're hearing a lot of locusts, and they make a kind of low hum that this picks up on. So I'm actually going to be switching this over to the NVIDIA broadcast here in a second. So anybody that has an RTX NVIDIA GPU graphics card, you can actually download the NVIDIA broadcast, and with that it actually has a feature that will filter out any background noise. So if there's anything, even vacuums, they have some crazy stuff that I've seen people do with it, but it uses the AI technology in the GPU. So let's go ahead and switch over to that. It'll just create a better audio experience for this video. All right, so this is with the NVIDIA broadcast noise removal turned on here, and as you can tell, it is much more clear with the audio. One of the things that you were hearing in the previous portion was the air conditioner, and that creates that low hum as well with this. So you have the locust making a hum, and then you have the air conditioner, and this is kind of just picking up on that. So I do recommend the NVIDIA broadcast if you have that RTX card. It just makes this a lot better audio experience. Now, with this, I don't know if Zoom, I don't typically use Zoom. I don't know if Zoom has a feature like that, or like Google Meetups or anything like that. If there's anything built into that that can actually help with that audio, or some other software too, where you don't need that RTX card. But if there is, and you know about that, let me know in the comment section, and I'll make sure to actually put that in the description of this video as well. So let's go ahead and cover the specs. I do want to talk about the box for just a second, just because this is a very plain, simple box. It says hashtag SUP free, hashtag pass on plastic. I do like that companies are going with this more environmental friendly boxing. This is like the third product I've got that has this. And one, it saves the company money on their end, and then two, obviously it's easier to recycle, and you don't have a ton of plastic or anything else that's in this, so this will just get recycled a lot easier, and we can actually save on resources with this stuff. So the box is really, really nice. In terms of what you get in it, it's literally just the webcam here. So there's not anything extra with this. And the USB cable is actually attached to this. And the USB type is 2.0 type A. So fixed cable with this, you can't actually remove it. The Focus 200 is a USB 3.0, and you can actually remove that if you want to. So I mentioned the price is $59.99. I think it's a solid price for a 1080p camera. You do have some that are cheaper out there, but you may not get certain features like the microphones or the wider angle that you get with this. So video resolution here, it is 1080p. So 1920 by 1080p at 30 hertz. You can't change that. The Focus 200, you can actually do 720p at 90 hertz, 1080p at 60 hertz, and then you could do 4K at 30 hertz. I've reviewed a 4K webcam on here. I think it was a Deeps Tech. And with 4K, one of the things that I've noticed, and I have a 3080 RTX GPU, that is a very beefy GPU. It was creating kind of like a low latency response for whatever reason with OBS. So it was throwing it off just a little bit anytime I've done streaming. So I just always went back to 1080p. So maybe for video conference stuff, it's good, but if you're going to do what I typically do, which is streaming stuff, it may not matter with 4K. You may not need to go that route unless there's just some stuff that I'm missing in OBS, which may be the case. But with this output video encoding, MJPEG, YUV2, H.264, and that's typically what I'm actually exporting my videos as from Premiere Pro, and then UVC 1.0. Camera and sensor here. So the lens is an f2.8. That is going to be the same for the Focus 200. With this, the sensor is a 1/3 0.08 inch CMOS effective pixels at 2 million. That has to do with the resolution here. The Focus 200 here is 1/2.7 CMOS. Effective pixel is the 8 million. That's going to be for the 4K. Shutter is 1/30th of a second, I believe is how you would do that, to 1/10,000th of a second. for pronouncing that correct. Um, with this, the white balance is going to be auto with this. And with this, I mentioned I actually adjusted this a little bit in OBS just because it was a little bit orange when I initially hooked it up. And I don't know if that has to deal with my previous presets with this, but even as I reset it to default, it just had a little bit of orange. But typically you can adjust this stuff in whatever software you're using. Digital noise reduction is supported. Backlight compensation is supported. I do have two lights going on though. I have my light right here, and then I have another one over to my right here. So um, turning those off, I actually initially had them off, and I think that's what partly created the orange look to this. So turning lights on, having good lighting with this is going to help. The darker the room, typically I've noticed that with any webcam, you're going to get some type of orange hue to it. Viewing angle is diagonal at 100 degrees. The focus 200, by the way, is 106 degrees with that, so just a little bit more. The HDR support here, it doesn't have any. With the Focus 200, it does have HDR support. It also supports zoom in terms of being able to zoom in with the lens 8 times, where this, you cannot do that. There is no lens. This is a fixed lens with this. And then power consumption. The power consumption here is 1.2 watts. The power supply is the USB cable there at 5 volts at 0.5 amps. Operating temperature, you don't need to worry about any of that stuff. And then the weight is 0.03 kilograms or 0.06 pounds with this. It is very, very light. So with this, I mentioned the price. I think for the price, the resolution and the hertz with this are pretty solid. It's a decent looking camera with this, and like I said, it just depends on what you're doing. If you don't want to mess with any external mics, it has the two built in with this. You do have the green light showing you whether or not it's on. You do have the privacy protector as well, which is attached to this, so you can actually put that over the lens if you're not using it. The larger angle, I think, is going to be the big draw, and the microphones. Decent price with this too at the $59.99, comparable to other things that you see, because some of them, I mean, you can even spend over $100 for 1080p at 30 hertz. Some of those you make it to 60 hertz. Not everybody needs that. So if you're just doing Zoom meetings, it's not something that I think personally is very necessary with that. But simple with this. One of the things that you don't get with this, but it has the ability to do it, is you could actually mount this. So the reason I have this angle, as I've mentioned, is that I have this on my 43-inch Aorus monitor. This is very, very tall, so I have it angled down. But you could actually screw this into a stand. It doesn't come with a stand, but if you had one, as long as the threading size is correct, you could actually screw that into this, and you could put it off to the side or anything like that instead of mounting it on your monitor, which is really, really nice. At the price, I mean, I don't use other ones that I've gotten because I have my own good stand, but maybe for some people that don't want to have that extra cost, it would have been nice to include it in here with this. But I think most people are just going to put this on top of their monitor because it just clips right onto the top. And that stand, the way it's built, is to actually hug that top. That's pretty standard across any webcam that I've seen, which is nice. Now, the tilt that this has, it doesn't tell me the degrees, but it does have a good amount of tilting forward and back, and then it can actually swivel side to side, and it has a good amount of swivel with that as well. So I'll make sure video pops up showcasing that. So overall, very solid webcam. I think the fact that it has the two microphones, we have the 1080p at 30 hertz, it has that wide angle, that 100 degrees with it, is very, very nice, with the white balance and the backlight compensation, and then the digital noise reduction all supported with this. There is no app, as far as I know, where you're going to actually tweak any of this stuff. It's going to recognize that with whatever you're using it in, right? I'm using OBS, like I mentioned, but whether you're using Google Meetups or Zoom or anything like that, that should have stuff in there that allows you to tweak this. So it doesn't necessarily need its own app with this. So that's going to be it for this one. I'm going to have a link for this in the description. If there's anything that I didn't cover that you guys want to know more about, let me know in the comment section, and I will make sure that I answer that for you there. So that's going to be it for this one, everybody. If you like the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with all my content, hit the subscribe button for me. Thanks so much for watching.